What if I told you that confidence has nothing to do with feeling ready and everything to do with doing it scared? You've probably been there, feeling paralyzed by fear, overthinking every decision, and wondering if you'll ever be good enough. I've been in those shoes too, facing doubts that seemed insurmountable. I've built multiple businesses, taken countless risks, and stood on stages with my heart racing, barely holding it together. But through it all, I've learned something powerful. The Stoics believed that courage isn't the absence of fear, it's acting despite it. Every challenge, every uncomfortable moment is not something to avoid, but something to embrace. And it's in those moments when you're terrified to take that first step that you actually build confidence. The path to true confidence isn't paved with comfort, it's forged through the fire of action. So, if you've ever wondered how to stop overthinking and how to actually feel confident, you're in the right place. I'll show you how to turn fear into your ally, how to turn uncertainty into your greatest strength. If you're ready to break free from the cycle of self-doubt and build confidence the Stoic way, please subscribe. By doing that, you're taking a personal step toward growth, toward being the best version of yourself. So let's dive in and unlock the power of real, lasting confidence. You've probably heard the phrase, "fake it until you make it," but let's be real. How often does that really work? Sure, you can put on a brave face, walk into a room, and act like you've got it all together, but deep down you know that it's all a facade. You're still terrified, you're still doubting yourself. Confidence isn't something you can fake. It's not about pretending you have it when you don't. It's about showing up despite the fear. It's about doing the things that scare you, even when you don't feel ready. That's the true test of confidence, and it's something you build over time, not something you just magically acquire. In a world full of self-help gurus and motivational speakers telling you to just believe in yourself, it's easy to get caught up in the idea that confidence is something that comes from positive thinking or external validation. But that's not the reality. Stoicism teaches us that true confidence comes from facing discomfort head-on. It doesn't come from avoiding the things that scare us, but from leaning into them, feeling the fear, and still moving forward. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." This means that every challenge, every roadblock, every moment of self-doubt is the very thing that builds your confidence. The discomfort you try to avoid, the things that feel like they're holding you back, are actually the tools that will shape you into someone who can handle whatever comes your way. Confidence isn't about eliminating fear. It's about doing the thing anyway. It's about walking into that meeting, taking on that challenge, speaking in front of that crowd, even when your heart is pounding in your chest. It's not the absence of fear that makes you confident. It's the willingness to take action despite it. You won't always feel ready, and that's okay. That's where the real growth happens. The truth is, the longer you wait for confidence to magically appear, the longer you stay stuck. It's not something you can wait for, and it's definitely not something you can fake. It's something you have to earn day by day, through consistent action and through stepping outside of your comfort zone. The more you face fear, the more you realize it's not as scary as it seems. You'll begin to notice that the things you once thought were impossible become easier with time. That's how confidence works. It builds through repetition. It's about proving to yourself that you can do hard things, not by reading books or watching videos, but by actually doing the things that challenge you. At first, it might feel awkward. You might question whether you're even capable. But trust me, that feeling of doubt is normal. We all experience it. What separates those who grow from those who stay stuck is the ability to act despite the discomfort. Think about it. When you were a child learning to walk, Did you wait until you felt totally confident before you took that first step? Of course not. You just did it. You took a step, then another, and eventually you were running. Confidence doesn't come from waiting. It comes from doing, again and again, even when you don't feel like it. Confidence, then, isn't a destination. It's a journey. It's not about being perfect or never feeling doubt. It's about learning to embrace uncertainty, to do the thing you're scared of, and to keep showing up, even when you don't feel ready. It's about trusting that with each step, you're becoming stronger. And each time you do something that scares you, you're proving to yourself that you're capable of more than you ever thought possible. So stop waiting for the perfect moment. Stop hoping for confidence to just show up. Take action now. Do it scared. Build your confidence through the simple, everyday actions that stretch you beyond your comfort zone. And as you do, remember this: the discomfort you're feeling is the very thing that will transform you. Each time you face it, you'll move closer to the person you want to become. Confidence isn't about being fearless. It's about having the courage to act despite fear. And that's something you can start doing right now. So, what's stopping you? Take that first step today. So where does real confidence come from? It's simpler than you might think. It doesn't come from motivation, from reading one more self-help book, or from chanting affirmations in front of the mirror. Confidence isn't a feeling. It's the result of doing. It's built on consistent, purposeful action. You don't wake up one day feeling confident. You build it over time by stepping into uncomfortable situations and following through on your commitments, even when you're exhausted or scared. Every time you push yourself to act despite the fear, you're training your brain to become more confident. Confidence is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. Seneca captured this perfectly when he said, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." How many times have you avoided doing something because you imagined the worst possible outcome? Your mind runs through worst-case scenarios that rarely ever come to pass. The reality is often nowhere near as bad as your fear makes it seem. The more you take action, the more you realize that what you feared was just a product of your imagination. Confidence grows when you face those imagined fears and see that you're still standing on the other side, stronger for it. Confidence doesn't come from avoiding discomfort. It comes from stepping into it again and again. Each time you do something that scares you, whether it's making a difficult decision, speaking up in a meeting, or learning a new skill, you prove to yourself that you are capable of handling the challenge. The next time, it won't feel as scary because you've already done it before. Your brain begins to register these experiences as evidence that you can take on whatever comes your way. The more evidence you collect, the more your belief in your own abilities grows. This is how you train yourself to be confident, through action, not thought. It's easy to look at someone who appears confident and assume that they've always had it. But the truth is, they've probably put in the work, the hard, uncomfortable work that built their confidence. They've learned to take action even when they didn't feel like it. It's not about waiting for the right moment to feel ready. It's about acting when you don't feel ready and trusting that you'll learn along the way. Each time you act, no matter how small the action, you build a foundation of trust in yourself. You prove to yourself that you can handle the unknown, and that trust is the core of real confidence. Think about it. Confidence isn't something that's given to you. It's something you earn through your actions. It's not about hoping for the best. It's about doing what needs to be done, even when the odds feel stacked against you. Each time you push through discomfort, each time you choose action over hesitation, you prove to yourself that you are capable of more than you think. The key to confidence is not found in waiting for the right moment or seeking approval from others. It's found in the decisions you make and the actions you take. The more you act, the more your confidence grows. So, Stop waiting, stop hoping, start doing. Step into the discomfort and trust that the confidence you seek is waiting for you on the other side. You've got everything you need to begin building it right now. You've probably experienced that feeling, your heart racing, your palms sweating, the little voice in your head telling you that you're not good enough, that you'll fail. That voice is fear, and it's loud, but it's not always right. The Stoics understood that fear is often just a distortion of reality. It's a projection of what could go wrong, not necessarily what will go wrong. In those moments, you have a choice. You can listen to that voice, or you can choose to act anyway. When you choose action, you are telling fear that it doesn't get to decide your next move. You are taking control, and in doing so, you are reinforcing your confidence. When you start embracing fear, you begin to see it for what it is, just a signal. It's not something that needs to stop you. It's not an indication that you should quit or shrink away. It's an indication that you're pushing your limits, that you're on the edge of growth. Fear arises when we step into unknown territory, and stepping into the unknown is where true confidence is made. The more you do it, the more you realize that fear is just part of the process, not something that defines your ability. Every time you step into that fear, you get a little stronger, a little more resilient. You prove to yourself that you are capable of more than you ever thought possible. Imagine a time in your life when you overcame something that terrified you. Maybe it was a difficult conversation, a tough decision, or a risky venture. Do you remember how you felt before you took that step? That fear was real, wasn't it? But after you took action, after you did the thing, you probably felt a sense of pride, relief, and accomplishment. That's confidence. It's not a feeling that appears out of nowhere. It's earned through action. And the more you take action in the face of fear, the more you strengthen that muscle. Fear can also be an opportunity for self-reflection. When you feel that familiar knot in your stomach, it's a sign that you're stepping into new ground. Instead of running from it, pause and ask yourself, what's the worst that could happen? Often, the worst-case scenario isn't as bad as we imagine. We think the consequences will be disastrous, but the reality is we often survive, sometimes even thrive, through the discomfort. Every time you survive a fearful moment, you prove to yourself that you can handle more than you thought, and that's how confidence is built. It's not through smooth, easy paths, but through confronting challenges and realizing that you're capable of navigating them. Now, this doesn't mean that you should expect to be fearless. The goal isn't to make fear disappear. In fact, you may always feel a little nervous before facing a challenge, and that's perfectly fine. The Stoics didn't aim to rid themselves of emotions. They aimed to control their response to those emotions. You might always feel fear when you take on something new. The difference is that now you'll act in spite of it. You won't let it stop you. And each time you take action, you reinforce the idea that fear is not an obstacle, it's just a stepping stone. Fear isn't the enemy, it's a sign that you're moving in the right direction. It's a reminder that you're stretching your limits, breaking past boundaries, and growing into the person you want to be. So the next time fear shows up, don't run from it. Don't let it hold you back. Face it, acknowledge it, and then do what you need to do anyway. Every time you do, you'll feel your confidence grow. You'll realize that fear is just a signal, and it's never strong enough to stop you from becoming who you're meant to be. So, why do we tend to focus on big leaps? Maybe it's the allure of quick success, the dream of achieving something massive without putting in the hard work. But this isn't the way confidence works. Confidence is not built in grand gestures or by aiming for a far-off, unrealistic goal. It's built in the details, in the small things that you do consistently. Every small step you take, no matter how insignificant it may seem, is a victory in itself. These small actions are like tiny deposits in the bank of your self-belief, and over time, they add up to something much bigger than you could imagine. These small victories accumulate, and before you know it, you've made remarkable progress without even realizing it. You start to see a shift in yourself. What once seemed impossible starts to feel within reach, and your sense of self-belief grows. It's easy to overlook the importance of these small steps, but they're the most crucial part of the process. They are the proof that you can grow, that you can handle discomfort, and that you can face challenges. Over time, these steps form the foundation of an unshakable confidence. Take a moment and think about the last time you accomplished something. Was it the result of one huge, bold move, or was it the culmination of consistent small efforts? It's probably the latter. Whether it was learning a new skill, improving your health, or getting better at a hobby, the progress came from steady, incremental steps. You didn't wake up one day with all the answers or the skills in place. You worked at it, and with each day you made that small effort, your confidence in your ability to succeed grew. The Stoics knew that success doesn't come overnight. They were all about patience, discipline, and consistent action. Seneca said, "No man was ever wise by chance." Wisdom and confidence, just like knowledge or skill, are cultivated over time through practice and reflection. It's not about waiting for the perfect moment or the perfect opportunity. It's about doing what you can, where you are, with what you have. The more you do, the more confident you become, not because you suddenly have all the answers, but because you've proven to yourself that you can handle whatever comes your way. So how do you apply this to your life right now? Start by breaking down those big, overwhelming goals into manageable steps. Instead of telling yourself you need to completely transform your career or your life in one go, think about the small things you can do today to move closer to where you want to be. If you're aiming for a promotion, don't focus solely on the end goal. Break it down. What can you do this week to improve your chances? Can you take on a new project? Can you ask for feedback? These small actions will gradually make you more visible, more competent, and more confident in your abilities. Small steps also mean that you don't have to wait until everything is perfect. Waiting for the right moment can lead to paralysis, and you may never take action at all. Perfection isn't the goal here. Progress is. And every small step forward is progress. Each time you make the choice to act, even in a small way, you're building momentum. And momentum is the key to overcoming self-doubt. It's much harder to doubt yourself when you can see the results of your actions. You begin to realize that you're capable, that you've been capable all along. Remember that confidence isn't some magical trait that a select few people are born with. It's the product of consistent effort, of taking small steps day after day, even when it feels insignificant. It's about showing up for yourself, doing the work, and letting your actions prove your worth. So, instead of waiting for that big moment, take the small step today. What is one thing you can do right now to move yourself closer to the person you want to become? It could be as simple as sending that email, starting that conversation, or just making time for yourself to reflect. Those small steps are the ones that will ultimately lead to the big changes you desire. And as you take them, you'll be surprised by how quickly your confidence grows. One of the core Stoic principles is virtue, the habit of doing what is right, even when it's difficult, even when it feels uncomfortable. Confidence works the same way. It's not something that magically appears one day. It's something that you build through repetition, through consistency, and through doing the hard things over and over again. You don't wake up one morning feeling confident. You wake up and choose to act in ways that push you beyond your comfort zone. That's the foundation of true confidence. The Stoics understood that developing virtuous habits was key to living a meaningful life. It's easy to do the things that feel comfortable, that come naturally. But the Stoics were all about doing what's hard, what's right, especially when it doesn't feel easy. Confidence is no different. If you want to build lasting confidence, you have to make it a habit, just like anything else in life that requires consistent effort. You can't expect to wake up and be an expert at something overnight. You have to put in the work day by day, choosing to step into discomfort again and again. And the more you do that, the more confidence you'll begin to feel. When it comes to building confidence, it's not about waiting for the perfect moment or feeling ready. It's about choosing to take action even when you don't feel prepared. Every day, make the decision to do something that challenges you, something that pushes you out of your comfort zone. It could be something as simple as having an uncomfortable conversation, learning a new skill, or tackling a physical challenge that tests your limits. Each time you face that discomfort, you're building confidence. The key is consistency, not perfection. The more you engage with those challenges, the more you prove to yourself that you're capable of handling whatever life throws at you. Building confidence is like training for a marathon. You don't sprint from the start. You take it one step at a time with steady, deliberate practice. You pace yourself. You allow yourself to fail, to stumble, but you keep going. You build endurance, both physically and mentally. And just like marathon training, the more you practice, the easier it becomes. What once seemed daunting, what once made you feel small and unsure, becomes something you can handle. Confidence, like muscle, is developed through repetition. Every time you challenge yourself, you're training that muscle to grow stronger. And yes, there will be days when you don't feel like it. There will be days when the voice in your head tells you that it's too hard, that you can't do it. On those days, you have to remind yourself that confidence is built through action, not through feeling. You don't need to feel confident to take that step. You don't need to wait for the right moment. You just need to keep showing up, even when it feels difficult, because it's on the other side of that discomfort that you'll find your growth, and with growth comes confidence. Consistency is key. It's not about doing everything perfectly or doing everything all at once. It's about showing up day after day and making the decision to act in spite of your doubts. This is where the real power of habit comes in. Confidence, just like any skill, is built through daily practice. The more you show up and do the hard things, the more you'll prove to yourself that you're capable of handling whatever challenges come your way. And with each challenge you overcome, your confidence will grow, until one day you realize that the things that once seemed impossible are now within your reach. Confidence and discipline go hand in hand. Without discipline, confidence will always be temporary, something that fades the moment life throws a curveball. Think about it for a second. How can you feel truly confident if you don't trust yourself to follow through? Confidence isn't something that just happens. It's the result of a series of small promises you keep to yourself every day. The foundation of confidence is built on self-discipline, on doing what you said you would do, even when it's hard, even when you don't feel like it. This is where most people get it wrong. They wait for the right moment to feel motivated or for their confidence to magically appear. But the truth is, confidence is earned through consistency and self-discipline. The Stoics were masters of this kind of discipline. They didn't rely on motivation or fleeting emotions to get them through tough times. Instead, they leaned into the power of self-discipline, understanding that real strength lies in the ability to do the work, regardless of how they felt. Marcus Aurelius perfectly encapsulated this idea when he said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. It's easy to let the outside world dictate how we feel. When things are going well, it's easy to feel confident. But what happens when things don't go as planned? That's when the true test of confidence begins. Real confidence comes from the ability to maintain your focus and keep your word to yourself, even when the world around you is unpredictable. Self-discipline is what allows you to keep going when motivation fades. It's what pushes you to take action when you'd rather give up. And it's what makes confidence a lasting part of who you are. You can't build real confidence by waiting for motivation to strike. You build it by showing up every day, whether you feel like it or not. It's about making small commitments to yourself, like getting up early to work on your goals or completing the tasks you've set out for the day, no matter how mundane or difficult they might seem. Each time you keep a promise to yourself, you're reinforcing the belief that you can trust yourself, that you are someone who follows through. This is how confidence is solidified. It's built on the backbone of self-discipline. Think about it. When you keep your word to yourself, you start to develop a relationship with yourself based on trust. You stop second-guessing your abilities and begin to see yourself as someone who can get things done. Confidence is not about being perfect or always feeling great. It's about knowing that, no matter the circumstances, you will do what you said you would do. And that sense of self-trust is what allows confidence to become a permanent part of your life. It's not about waiting to feel confident. It's about being disciplined enough to take action, even when you're not feeling your best. This is how the Stoics lived their lives, and it's how you can begin to build lasting confidence too. When you commit to self-discipline, you're essentially telling yourself, "I believe in my ability to follow through." You prove that belief every time you take action, even when it feels difficult. This is where most people stumble. They rely on motivation to carry them through, and when that motivation fades, so does their confidence. But when you rely on discipline instead, you've built a foundation that doesn't crumble. Whether you feel motivated or not, the work gets done. And with each completed task, no matter how small, your confidence grows. This isn't easy. The path to self-discipline is full of challenges and setbacks. But it's in those moments of struggle that you have the opportunity to build real confidence. When you push through the discomfort, when you honor the commitments you've made to yourself, you're proving to yourself that you can handle adversity. This is how you build mental toughness. It's not something you're born with, it's something you cultivate over time. Every time you choose to stay disciplined, even when you don't feel like it, you become a little stronger, a little more confident in your ability to persevere. And here's the thing, self-discipline doesn't mean you have to be perfect. You don't have to nail every goal or follow every routine perfectly. The key is to keep showing up, to keep making small, deliberate choices that push you in the right direction. Perfection isn't the goal. Progress is. Self-discipline is about taking consistent, positive steps toward your goals, no matter how many times you stumble. The more you do this, the more you develop the belief that you are capable of handling whatever life throws at you. It's this self-belief, this unshakable trust in your own ability to follow through, that forms the foundation of true, lasting confidence. As you move forward, remember that every small action you take, every promise you keep to yourself, is an opportunity to strengthen your confidence. It's not about huge leaps or dramatic changes. It's about the discipline to do what needs to be done, one day at a time. This is the power of self-discipline. This is how you build confidence that lasts. What if you fail? What if you try something and it doesn't work out? The fear of failure is something we all deal with at some point in our lives. It can be paralyzing, especially when we've invested so much time, effort, and energy into something. But here's the thing. Failure is not the end. It's part of the process. In fact, failure is essential for growth. The Stoics, the ancient philosophers who focused on resilience and virtue viewed failure in a completely different way than most people do. While many of us fear it, they saw it as an opportunity, a necessary step on the path to becoming stronger, wiser, and more capable. When you fail, you gain insights that success simply can't provide. You learn what doesn't work, what to avoid next time, and where you need to improve. And that is just as important as knowing what does work. Failure gives you data, real, practical feedback on your approach, your decisions, and your strategies. It shows you your weaknesses and gives you the chance to fix them. In this sense, failure is a powerful teacher. It's not something to run from, but something to embrace. The truth is, failure doesn't define you. It's how you respond to it that matters. Think about the most successful people you know, whether in business, sports, or life. Do you think they reached their goals without failing along the way? Of course not. They faced setbacks, they made mistakes, and they encountered obstacles that could have derailed them. But instead of seeing failure as the end, they saw it as part of the journey. They embraced it, learned from it, and used it as fuel to keep moving forward. The Stoics were masters of this mindset. They understood that we can't control everything that happens to us, but we can control how we react. And our reaction to failure, more than anything else, shapes our future. It's easy to see failure as a personal defeat, as something that reveals our inadequacies. But the Stoics taught us that failure is simply an event, not a reflection of our worth. It's just a part of life, a step along the way to mastery. Every time you fail, you're gaining experience. You're becoming better equipped to handle the next challenge that comes your way. Instead of fearing failure, try to shift your perspective. Instead of asking, "What if I fail?" ask, "What can I learn from this? How can I grow?" When you start to view failure as a valuable learning opportunity rather than something to be avoided, you begin to break free from the grip of fear. You realize that failure isn't a sign that you're not good enough. It's a sign that you're trying. It's a sign that you're pushing your boundaries, taking risks, and challenging yourself to be better. This is why the Stoics believed that our greatest growth comes not from avoiding adversity, but from facing it head-on. It's through adversity that we learn our true strength. We can't control whether we fail, but we can control whether we let failure define us. Do you allow failure to make you feel inadequate, or do you let it make you stronger? The Stoics would say that it's in your power to decide. In reality, no one ever succeeds without failing. The key to building confidence isn't avoiding failure, but learning how to fail well. How can you use failure to improve? How can you turn every setback into a stepping stone? The more you approach failure with the mindset that it's a lesson, not a defeat, the more you'll grow in confidence. Each failure will be a reminder that you're still in the game, still learning, still moving forward. So, next time you face failure, instead of beating yourself up, take a step back and look at what you've learned. Take the time to reflect on what went wrong, what you could have done differently, and how you can use this knowledge to improve next time. And above all, remind yourself that you're not alone. Every successful person, every great achiever, has failed countless times. But it's their ability to keep going, to embrace failure as a part of the process, that makes them successful. And that's what will make you successful too. Failure is not the end. It's just a part of the journey. Embrace it, learn from it, and keep moving forward. Every time you do, you're building resilience, mental strength, and confidence. And in the end, that's what truly matters. Here's the secret most people miss. Your emotions follow your actions, not the other way around. It's one of the most overlooked truths about building confidence, and it's the key to unlocking the potential you've been waiting for. So many of us make the mistake of waiting for the perfect moment to feel confident. We wait until the fear subsides, until the doubt disappears, until we're absolutely sure we can handle whatever we're about to do. But here's the catch: you'll be waiting forever. Confidence doesn't appear on its own. It's something you create through action. If you keep waiting for the emotions to align with your goals, you'll never take the first step. The truth is, you have to move first. You have to take action even when you don't feel ready. When you step into discomfort, when you choose to act despite the fear, your brain begins to gather evidence that you can succeed. This is how confidence grows. It's not a feeling that magically happens. It's built through doing. Every time you take action, you reinforce the belief that you are capable of handling challenges. Over time, this evidence accumulates, and you start to see yourself differently. The more you take action, the more your identity shifts. You begin to see yourself as confident, capable, and strong. The key is that you can't wait for the emotions to change first. You must act and then let the feelings follow. Epictetus captured this brilliantly when he said, "First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do." It's as simple as that. Start by defining who you want to be. Say to yourself, "I am confident," or "I am capable," and then start doing what it takes to live up to that statement. You don't need to wait for some magical feeling of readiness. The actions you take will shape the way you feel. When you do what you fear, when you step into situations that challenge you, you start building a new identity. Each action adds a layer of confidence until one day you look back and realize that you've transformed into the person you always wanted to be. The problem with waiting for confidence to appear is that it keeps us stuck. We think we need to feel something before we can act. But here's the reality: you'll never feel fully ready. There's always going to be some level of uncertainty, some level of fear. That's the nature of growth. But if you wait for the fear to go away, you'll never take the leap. The trick is to act in spite of it. The more you act, the more you teach yourself that you can handle whatever comes your way. It's through doing, through motion, that your emotions catch up with your actions. And with each new action, you build a deeper belief in yourself and your abilities. This is how the most confident people operate. They don't wait for the right moment to feel ready. They create the moment by stepping forward and taking action. Whether it's speaking up in a meeting, making a tough decision, or putting yourself out there in any way, they understand that the only way to build confidence is through consistent, courageous action. Confidence isn't something that's given to you. It's something you earn, one action at a time. The more you act, the more evidence you gather that you can succeed, and that evidence becomes the foundation of your confidence. Think about it. When was the last time you accomplished something meaningful? Was it because you felt 100% confident going into it? Probably not. Most likely, you were uncertain, maybe even scared. But you did it anyway, and through the process, your confidence grew. Confidence isn't a static trait. It's dynamic. It grows as you grow, and it grows through action. It's the result of pushing yourself, doing the hard things, and showing up even when it feels uncomfortable. The more you do this, the more your brain registers that you can succeed, and with every success, no matter how small, your confidence strengthens. So don't wait for the perfect moment to feel confident. The perfect moment doesn't exist. Start now, with whatever you have. Take the next step, even if it's a small one. Every action you take builds the confidence you seek. It's like training for a marathon. At first it's hard and you don't feel strong. But with each step, with each training session, your body adapts. Confidence works the same way. The more you act, the more your brain adapts to the idea that you are capable, that you can handle anything that comes your way. Over time, the fear that once held you back starts to diminish, not because you've gotten rid of it, but because you've learned to move through it. Remember, confidence isn't about being fearless. It's about taking action, even when you feel fear. It's about moving forward despite uncertainty and letting your actions shape the way you feel. The more you do this, the more confident you become, and the more natural it feels. Don't wait for the right feeling. Create it through your actions. Your emotions will follow. Remember, confidence isn't something you wait for. It's something you create, step by step, action by action. Don't wait for the perfect moment, because it's already here, in the decisions you make today. Keep moving, keep pushing through the discomfort, and let each step build the unshakable confidence you're capable of. If you found this video helpful, make sure to check out the suggested videos on the screen. Each one is designed to help you keep growing and becoming the best version of yourself. Thanks for being a part of Stoic Journal. Keep embracing the journey, and I'll see you in the next one.